especially when LNG were comfortable playing this Vayne into things like this.
And suddenly some more top lane picks are available as well. Suning pretty much just keep their bans the same, whereas LNG ban away the Ziggs. It means Aurelia now available. That's been the ban for LNG against Bin for the first couple of games of the series. It is going to be Lee Sin locked in though, so Syndra would be available if LNG want to go in that direction.
Yeah, I think you can go for the Xin Zhao, and if you wanted to go towards the Syndra, I think you can take it here. They may just leave it as a ban for the second phase though, and go towards one of the AD carries like a Varus that has been pretty high priority for a large portion of this phase.
Also things like the Lulu available if they want to go for a really strong 2v2, but it is that Varus that you're talking about locked in for the side of LNG, and now Suning have to decide where they want to go. Would not be at all surprised to see the Syndra even as a blind pick. I think it's such a high priority for Angel right now.
I think Syndra Kalista here for Suning. Like, we've talked length about how Suning tend to take the counter pick for on that bottom lane and leave him for a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, well, I was going to say Kalista. Jhin works just as well as that with, like, basically a counter to this Varus and then taking that Syndra. And if you do go Syndra, hell, that's a lot of pick potential. That's a lot of long range damage. And there we go. They're going to lock that in.
Really aggressive composition from Suning so far, right? A lot of early agency, a lot of priority on that bottom side for fighting for Drakes. And obviously Syndra in the mid lane, exceptionally strong in that regard. We already mentioned briefly the Lulu that could come through from Icon. This is something that we've seen this team play a couple of times before, with Tarzan on that Xin Zhao being the primary carry. Gwen being hovered instead. Might just be locked in for Alan.
Yeah, so basically saying, hey, look, we've got options here in the mid lane, right? We can still go Lulu Karma if we want Enchanter, something that can do okay into Angel, or we can even just go like Lissandra, Galio, still things that pair really well with Xin Zhao. Instead, they want to guarantee the top lane matchup and then ban away things like the Kennen that can do well into it. They want to go back towards the Jax, which we've seen quite a lot here from Bin. I wouldn't be surprised either. And just kind of say, hey, look, we've got a strong team fight composition. We've got a great bit of frontline damage coming through from the Gwen as well. Let's just guarantee ourselves these nice team fights.
All right, Jax being banned away, which I have to say for Bin, that's like a Medal of Honor at this point. Especially after game number 2, he went, what, like 0-5 on the Jax. It's still getting banned out in this series is a testament to the pressure he was putting into those side lanes. But the Lulu banned away by Suning, and now LNG. They need to find something, I think, with a bit more proactivity for this mid lane. Something that can take on the Syndra.
Okay, I actually thought it was going to be the Kennen ban rather than the Narbar ban, sorry, for that top lane. And, I mean, look, you still got options here, Suning now, whatever you want to take in towards Bin. Again, I think you need for Suning to have follow-up damage alongside the Jhin and the Syndra. I mean, in the mid game, it's nice that you got this long range engage and kind of this poke damage, but you need something that's going to be a finishing tool here for Suning. And Bin has been playing a lot of those carries, so I still expect him to go back towards that more carry-oriented style.
A little surprised to see Karma banned away here, but it's the same MO as the Lulu, right? You're trying to remove these supportive mid laners that can just clear the wave. Maybe try and force Icon onto that Galio once again. LNG going to go with a counter pick for their mid lane as their last pick, whereas Suning need to round out their composition. What are you expecting here, Dags?
Well, kind of been mentioned the Kennen quite a bit, but I mean, you still have options here. The other ones that you could potentially see is like the Akali that could come through. But a lot of those top lane bans are already kind of put into place here, because like Viego, Renekton, Jace, Camille, Jax, Gnar all banned away. You're running out of options here as bait.
Let's see. The Braum comes through. No way do we get a Trundle top. I'm not going to be baited by Bin. I'm always baited by Bin. We'll see. We'll wait until it's locked in. It's going to be Angel on the Syndra. We're going to have Huanfeng on that Jhin, and we need to have something that can have a strong side lane performance. And Akali for Bin. Certainly a carry up on that top side.
Yeah, and what we were kind of saying was, look, we needed to see damage from Bin, right? Again, well, maybe not so much to facilitate Angel, but certainly like you're getting this long range damage. Have something that can kind of dash into backline and use the fact that you've kind of set up LNG to fall. Akali works perfectly in that scenario. Potential for Icon to go back towards the Xerath. This is an Icon speciality. He played this before, I believe, is against JDG, and he is going to lock it in. He had the biggest carry pants on last time we saw him on this Xerath, and I'm excited to see him back on this pick again.
We get a Xerath in the mid lane here from Icon. I will say, immobile mid laners versus Lee Sin often don't have a great time. I feel like a lot of pressure is on SofM to be able to impact this mid lane matchup, because Syndra just gets outranged by Xerath. You are just going to get poked out of this mid lane otherwise.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the story of a lot of this, right? Is like, hey, look, you've got longer range on Huanfeng to Lights because you've got the Deadly Thirst and the Curtain Call. You've got longer range on Xerath because he's got his own ultimate that just kind of hits you from like 3 screens away. So there's a lot of fighting back and forth here, contention from where you're kind of trying to lay down that damage. So you're going to need things like the Zhao to really step up to be a secondary carry, provide that front line. Same when you look towards Bin and also looking towards Ale in this top side. If you can get Gwen up and rolling, she can start to play that front line and make it easier for these long-range carries on both sides to hit their abilities.
We'll see if they're going to be able to hit those abilities. Now, Dagda, I've got to call you out on something here. Congestion, not a real world. I got not a real word.
It's not a real world.
This the other day. I say congestion all the time. Turns out it's not a real word at all. So I'm gonna call you
Language
out on
evolves.
that so that
it's fine. Language
we can try and figure out how to speak English. We're going into game number 4
Neil,
here.
but what Gaelga?
Yeah, I had one, but the legs fell off. Yeah, unfortunate. We're going into game number 4 here between Suning and LNG. Suning now finally on the blue side. They get a draft that looks a lot more like a Suning draft. We've got Angel on the Syndra once again. But LNG with the counter pick for Icon. A lot of pressure on this veteran mid laner who's yet to make it to a world championship. And if he wanted to make it to worlds this time around, he's got a long way ahead of him. But this game would be a start.
Yeah, I mean, a lot for these guys as well, right? Obviously, like Tarzan too, who was over in the LCK.
Wait, there's a sequel?
What? Yeah, Tarzan 2. Yeah.
I love that film.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure George of the Jungle has a sequel as well. So we'll have to see which version we get from Tarzan.
I mean, the first one was only good because I was 10. I don't know if it needed a sequel, let's be honest.
True. But look, we're going to nick some of the LCK memes anyway for this. But yeah, I think like, especially since he got on to like with Griffin looking great, and then it all kind of fell apart. We didn't actually see Tarzan playing in summer 2020, so didn't have even the opportunity to go to Worlds in 2020. Like, I want to see both Icon and Tarzan stepping up. Like, it is a long shot. They have so many best of 5s to get through to get to that world stage, but with 2 games up in this series, staring down the barrel of a victory, they would be one step closer to that.
Man, if this goes to 5 games after LNG just completely style on Suning in game number 2, they managed to get the massive comeback in game number 1. It would be a heartbreaker for LNG fans to come this far. And such a hyped up roster as well. Across the course of this year, I feel like LNG is a team that have consistently been trying to prove themselves and fallen short in spring and now need to prove themselves here in summer. They've had a great showing so far in the series. They've just got to finish things off. We can see the pathing, though, from these 2 junglers. Tarzan moving up towards the top side of the map, and SofM happy to trade and move towards the bottom side instead.
Yeah, so we're just going to have them trading opposite sides. Angel definitely, or sorry, not Angel, Bin definitely going to get shoved in on this top lane. So unfortunately not going to have much of a contest on this top scuttle. So SofM rightly pointing himself down towards the bottom lane. I want to see, though, if we get some early pressure in towards this mid lane, because both of these mid laners have the ability to set up for ganks. You're seeing Angel pushing incredibly hard in this mid lane, but because Icon kind of has his own sustain coming off the passive, if you end up consistently shoving at Angel, eventually you just run out of steam against Icon.
Especially pre-lost chapter, right? You can see the corrupting potion from Angel, and that's a nice scatter the weak, but Tarzan's off towards the side, so Angel just about dodging the W. Obviously, he already used the wave, so wouldn't have been too much coming off the back of it anyway. As the wave is just going to be mutually cleared, and that's kind of the story of these kind of mid laners, right? They have so much damage, they can just one-shot the wave. SofM goes for a 1v1 with Tarzan. Icon has been forced back to the base here, but SofM not really doing so hot in that trade. The top lane priority is going to be an LNG can get the top scuttle.
Yeah, I mean, Angel wasn't really in a position to follow up on that. Maybe if you had a scat of the week, you could have killed off Tarzan, but ambitious to say the most from SofM. So instead, he will get this bottom scuttle as expected. Actually, I think that went across to his bot lane. Yeah, so actually you're just putting SofM behind. Now Tarzan has that advantage when it comes towards the early lead, and is going to be able to finish off his own camps, reset, and look to impact the map again towards this mid lane. Words are hard at this stage. You've thrown me off guard now. My contestation, or whatever it is now
just contest.
Set me through a loop.
Just contest. We're just overcomplicating it. But yeah, Dagda choking on his words now. About as much as LNG choking in game number 3 of this series. Tarzan moving into the top side here. Bin may overextend. We've seen him do it time and time again. Ally doesn't have any mana though. Difficult to make this happen. Flash available for Bin. He has gone for this defensive style, right? Where you go for the flash instead of going for the ignite and TP.
Tarzan gonna get a nice trade onto Bin. But the really interesting thing that we're seeing from Tarzan, like as he helps out LA here, is that like Tarzan is much more aware of, hey, what do my laners need right now? Like, Icon was getting poked out in this mid lane. He needed to reset and find himself some more pots. So you see that gank from Tarzan mid just to alleviate some of the pressure for Icon. Again, Ali running out of mana in this top side. Needed to make sure that wave crashed or Bin could have froze it. So Tarzan gets up towards this top side. Even though we're not getting these early kills, these are still crucial moments that Tarzan is having an impact with. But it is buying time for SofM to try and keep pace with the Xin Zhao in the early game, where traditionally Lee Sin would start to fall behind.
Now, you're praising Tarzan a lot there. Obviously, he's doing a good job. I'd say SofM is helping out his laners too. He even gave a score crap to Huanfeng to start this game off, whether intentionally or not. But I do just want to quickly mention the Xerath in the mid lane, right? This is not the first time that we've seen Icon on this Xerath playing once in the regular season. 100% win rate across that one game. As get scat of the week, I could have picked the worst time ever to talk about this Xerath, as Icon just gets absolutely bodied by Angel, forced out of the lane, no TP available. And Suning, they could maybe just force a Drake off the back of this one. Icon is going to stick around in the mid lane though. They're fighting for this crown here. As Tarzan goes in, onto on here, he's just going to be stunned up. Huanfeng roots him in, but it's going to be the Xerath. The right of the arcane flying across the map. You don't need HP when you're Xerath because he can play from the base.
It's a little bit silly, but it is going to be the mantra of this game. Poke, don't choke. And it is Icon who's able to get the poke off from the back line. Doesn't actually leave it to the hands of Suning. And now Dragon goes the way of LNG alongside 2 quick kills.
Beautifully done here by LNG, calling Suning's bluff. They thought that they had forced Icon out of the play. They could not have been more wrong. And now, 1,000 gold lead in favor of LNG. They get themselves the first Drake. And importantly, that first Drake is a Cloud. Now, the Cloud Drake itself is not that good. What it means is it guarantees that the soul is worth fighting for.
It does. It means that we've actually got some nice dragons to start to scrap over. And look, again, this is just Tarzan. Xin Zhao in the early stages, so strong. You've got this Xerath damage coming off over the top as well. And between everyone just jumping onto 2 members, they're just gone in the blink of an eye.
Blink and you miss it. And, Huanfeng is doing a decent job on this Jhin. He's got himself a CS lead, but in that fight, we see that he doesn't really do any damage just yet. You need a couple of items before Jhin is really going to start to fire on all cylinders there. You can see he's finished this right there. Finished his boots now as well. Similar story in the mid lane is Angel finding a CS lead, but not finding an impact just yet for himself. Gone for the boots first instead of components towards that lost chapter. Obviously just wanting as much upfront damage right now as he can, as Ali maybe looks for an all-in. Misses the first needlework. Will be able to go for a second one. That's the ult proc by Bin. Perfect execution to dodge the needlework. Nicely played here by Bin. Third needlework still available for Ali, but I don't think he's going to get an opportunity to really use it, yeah.
No, just going to be able to walk away. So, bit of back and forth trading, but both top laners will start to step away. I say that, though, as everyone started to congregate up for this Rift Herald. Suning going to be the ones to start it off. This is where Icon can get a ton of that poke down, though. And he'll have to, because Suning, they're not wavered here.
Suning going to commit. Now, we've seen this before, and LNG have denied it before. On this Braum tanking up, but he's low on HP. Flash forward from Tarzan. Oh no, Lwandy doesn't even go down. Suning, everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. Here we go. Bin trying to capitalize, trying to punish, trying to make something happen. SofM actually stole away the Herald here. No way does this happen again, Dagda. Suning gets the first Herald, and yet again, they cannot actually pick it up.
Bin is trying so hard to get in there, but it would cost him his life, so he's just going to back away. LNG denied the Herald, and they managed to win the fight as well. So, and all said and done, LNG victory there.
Well, Suning, I don't know. I mean, hey, look, at the end of the day, they stole that Herald. They, like, LNG had essentially won the fight, and they managed to sneak it away. So I guess in this context, it's more like Suning denying the Herald from LNG, but even still, like, game number 1, they get the Herald, but it's killed before it hits the tower, and then this happens 2-3 games in a row, is it? I'm not even sure at this point. Just stepping too far forward to start it off.
Especially when you saw the Akali bin resetting as well. Ali was actually able to get into this fight because he'd gone for the earlier reset, TP's in. So you've just got more numbers here for LNG at the beginning, so they start to pick people off. As you said, SofM then just managing to steal that away. But look at the kills, right? One for Tarzan, one for Icon, one for Light. We're saying, hey, we wanted to see Tarzan in this scenario stepping up to be a secondary, well, tertiary carry, in this case for LNG, because you've got this long-range poke from Icon Light. You need a finisher. You need someone who's going to give you that fatality. Well, right now, Tarzan, he's stepping up to try and see if he can close out those kills onto Suning's lineup.
It's going to be a challenge for him, but it's certainly a challenge he can step up to. Remember, Tarzan, as a jungler, managing to get the first team all-pro position for his split here. Certainly a hyped-up player coming into the LPL this year over from the LCK, and I know a lot of fans watching are huge fans of Tarzan and his gameplay. A lot of people really excited to see both Tarzan and Viper getting the first team in all-pro together.
Cough, Chronicler.
Yeah, it feels good to see them together again, but Tarzan certainly having a good series for himself here, but it's not over yet. That's the part that LNG have to remember. They've got to keep their head in the game, try and finish this series out, but Suning certainly not making it easy.
And I think the big thing here as well, I just give the late game to LNG. Like, this Xerath is obnoxious when it gets to the later portion of the game, and you don't have tanky members on Suning. Like, you've got On who can maybe put up a shield, but very little Xerath cares about. So as this game starts to roll forward, you still see LNG winning out. They've got control of this early stages, Dragon up as well, and they're looking for a pick in mid.
Lwandy narrowly dodges the scat of the week there. And now Drake coming up. As you say, it's going to be an Ocean Drake, and I think LNG are just going to get this one. Feels like Suning not going to go for the contest. SofM, you can see he's on the top side of the map right now. He's going to look for some chickens or something, but there is no camps available. Right, the Arcane comes down onto Huanfeng, forces the flash. The Q will be out of range. And so Huanfeng survives. Good pressure coming out from LNG. They don't need to stop the Drake. They can try and punish Suning for trying to make a counterplay elsewhere on the map. They try to go for some mid-tower plays while the Drake was happening. LNG just delay the play for themselves. Now good damage onto SofM. Icon is getting some serious value out of this Xerath pick.
But I misspoke earlier on. He played against TT, and he was, as funny as this sounds, the only reason LNG won that game. Like, TT had LNG on the ropes, and Icon playing right the way from the back line clawed that game back. He is a seriously talented Xerath. And I'm actually worried here for Suning that they just don't really have the tools to deal with him on the back line. You are hoping that Bin is able to make some sort of play, but when you've got, like, the CC enabled by both carries, it becomes really hard to do so.
Gets away in the top side, and it feels like Ale has lost control of this lane matchup. This does feel like Bin, after getting that kill in one of those early skirmishes, has been able to wrestle control of the lane. I just feel like that top lane matchup, it's one of those matchups where we have these two top laners, and theoretically it's possible to see a solo kill, but realistically, if it's played correctly, neither player should die across the course of this lane. It's more about facilitating the team fights later on for both of these top lanes.
Yeah, and for Bin, as we said, diving backline. And look, I mean, I don't know if you should talk anymore much. That's twice now. You try to hype up Icon, nothing's going to happen. No plays in top. You got to be dangerous.
You're right.
The curse is real.
That's true. I keep cursing it. So, I mean, there's just no way that Suning managed to pull off a reverse sweep. I just don't see it happening. There's no way that could possibly happen.
God, Suning casting bias is real, huh? Every time.
To be fair, I've been singing LNG's praises, and I think that they deserve to have their praises sung, especially with this poke composition that they've got working for themselves here. Icon on the Xerath Light. And like the lethality Varus as well, which has been probably the strongest AD carry of the split.
Yeah, I will also say you've kind of hedged your bets with WE and Top Esports also still being in playoffs. But I will agree here that, like, I think LNG, you've been giving them a fair due, and they might give SofM a fair due here as well as Tarzan.
SofM and Tarzan just going to be duking it out here, but SofM is winning it out. There's a great flash kick as well. Tarzan has to flash himself. The Q is on, followed up, and SofM take a bow, sir. That was a beautiful little solo kill. Very nicely done. And Tarzan, I don't think he wins out this matchup anymore. Results-based analysis, I know, but I think this might be SofM favorite.
I will also say that it was like Bin, the big brother, standing over his little brother. Like, if you hit him back, Bin is going to come in and murder you. But, Light?
Oh, no. Right, the arcade getting dodged. No, he can't. The fancy footwork, not good enough. And Icon manages to grab himself that kill. Very nicely done. I didn't see what happened earlier on. I think Light must have managed to land the Chain of Corruption to get that big damage down in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can see it on cooldown, but I mean, Icon teeters into River, gets the kill, and teeters back in time for the mid wave. I mean, what a time to be alive as Icon on this game. Now as well, you get that bot lane turret. SofM will trade in favor of this Rift Tower top, but you still need to try and get value from this Rift Tower, whereas LNG, they're just ripping their value straight out of Suning's hands.
It's working out nicely for them. Bin as a blast cone and an SofM to work with on this top side right now, and he wants an opportunity onto LA. Perfect execution. The TP is there. SofM throws the Q out and finishes the kill. They actually managed to do it. I thought he was gone away for guaranteed there. That's not a good sentence, but it doesn't matter because it was a great kill instead.
Our English may not be great, but Suning's League of Legends is stronger. They managed to just barely get the kill through the hollowed mist. And now Light has to move up here to try and cover this, but a nice pick off and a... Oh, Light!
It's not often you see an AD carry flashing towards an Akali, but I guess when his ult's on cooldown.
I mean, look, if you can manage it, it would have worked out, but Light, not quite able to connect. You still, though... Things are ramping up for the carries here on LNG. Like, Light being able to set up this play. It looks like, yeah, they're just using this every time. Like, Chains of Corruption, they get the damage onto Huanfeng, and Icon's already moving from this mid lane. Like, this is something that they are actively seeking to do like every single time this ult comes off cooldown. They get the kill. Now, we're back into game, though. Terror goes down bot lane for Suning, and LNG off the resets, not really able to answer much as got the weak onto LA. We'll just do a little bit of damage.
Yeah, the Herald used to take that bot tier 1 tower. And I want to just quickly talk about something that is we basically never get to talk about in competitive. I might not even get to right now, is once again SofM looking for LA. Feels like Suning want revenge for what LA did to them earlier in the series here, but they will have to back away. We're going to see the minigame now between Icon and Huanfeng. Across the course of this game, Huanfeng has to figure out how Icon shoots these skill shots. And Icon has to figure out how Huanfeng dodges these skill shots. We're going to see it every single time right at the arcane comes out. Keep your eyes on Huanfeng and how that footwork works out. Drake going to be up, though. This would be sole point for LNG, but Suning's certainly not going to let that go for free. TP here from Bin. On. Might have gone too far forward, though. He's going to be okay. Backs away for now. There's a route through, and we reset that.
Look where LNG are situated, though, right? They've got their poke carries always with an exit route. They're trying to make sure they stop the flanks from Bin and SofM, and they're just going to be able to start chucking away. Huanfeng needs to try and reposition over to the far side of this fight.
Just going to start this Drake off and see if LNG just won't contest. Of course they will, as the solar flare comes through. SofM forced away from it. 2,500 on this. Chain of Corruption goes wide. It's going to be the smite. Tarzan gets it. And the Glacial Fissure goes completely wide on this one as well. Bin now into the fray onto Lwandy. Perfect execution available as the fourth shot comes through and hits onto Icon. LNG will back away. They survive. You know what? A death for a Dragon Soul, or for a Soul Point at least. I think they'll take that trade.
Hey, and look, I as a support player like to think that my life matters in this situation, but you're definitely going to take that as shots fired on though. Got to be able to just barely escape away from that one. LNG now trying to put pressure on towards his top side. It feels like you're consistently getting like nice poke coming through from LNG, but Suning, just when they get that engaged, when they're able to find that one member that's separated, can burst them out so quickly.
Exceptional stuff here from LNG, and you know, happy to trade one support death for a Drake any day of the week. 20 minutes on the clock almost, as it is 4-4 between these two teams. And Suning are now officially on a timer, right? Before it was like up in the air, you know, they could have maybe got the next Drake and whatever. Now they cannot afford to lose a Drake. Not only because obviously it's a soul, but it's an infernal soul. You're against Lethality Varus and Xerath. Like, you don't survive this poke with an infernal soul. It's impossible. Like, it's the... I literally don't have words for the amount of damage that they're going to be doing if they get themselves an Infernal Soul. Especially, you can see Icon with that Hextech Alternator. He'll be going for the Horizon Focus as his next item. His Qs are going to do monster damage.
And I love where we're seeing Lwandy position, right? He's always beside his two poke carries, so there's never a moment where they're separated. Now, though, SofM spotted out. Does have Angel in the wings.
He knows Tarzan's there. He's like, well, you're not going to stop me double jungling, sir. As he just takes away the camps. One more auto, but the red buff resets. And SofM didn't have smite available anyway, so I think he's quite happy for that reset to come on through. Is now in the mid lane. Lwandy going in, gets the Solar Flare, but on happy to tank it for the time being, and the shots coming on through. Lwandy trying to dodge. SofM in trouble on the front side of the fight. LNG disengaged, just a trade of ultimates across the board.
Yeah, you still have to be careful though, right? The Arcane open for Icon, so still have to be safe, making sure that they're not getting picked off, especially after the curtain call is down. Icon's free to open up, so bit of trading back and forth, but not a huge amount gone in either way. We're still waiting 2 minutes until this next Dragon's open, and this is where we want to see, right, quick resets coming through from LNG. Let's get that vision control down. Make sure there's no flanks coming through from Suning. Otherwise, you can have been potential to find these nice engages. SofM, we've seen what is Lee Sin capable of over and over again. If he gets a good kick onto Lighter Icon, that's game over for LNG.
And especially after game number 1 and 2, we've criticized SofM for being a bit too greedy. We saw the Graves pick that really didn't work out in the first game of the series. It felt like SofM was not having a good day for himself. But now in game number 4, when it matters the most, 1 and 2 so far in this Lee Sin, getting a solo kill on Tarzan in our featured matchup as well, our head-to-head between these two junglers. And it feels good to see SofM. Feels like he's kind of back on form once again. But still a journey ahead of them. And Dagda, I'm excited to say that we're heading into this mid-game with an exceptionally close gold value. It's 400 between the two teams. Pretty much every game we've seen someone massively ahead at this point and then throws to shake it up. But right now, it is dead even. And I'm really curious how that makes the mid-game look.
Well, we're about to find out, because this is going to be a scrap and a half. TP ward's there for Bin, so you do need to be careful as LNG. If they can get the poke out before the fight starts, maybe, but they have to be careful of Angel.
Oh, Light forced to use his flash very early on before the fight even begins. So that's a big cooldown for the side of LNG. Remember, he has heal, not cleanse. If he gets caught by a scat of the week, he's done so. SofM moves into the river to try and clear a ward here. Has Angel to jump onto, get out to safety. But LNG defend their vision in the river. They do not want to lose control of this area of the map. Remember, 20 seconds. This will be solved for LNG if they can grab the Drake.
Yeah, but look at where Suning are positioned right now. Flanks galore. They are trying everything to just move LNG around. Icon has to check bushes with his Q.
G2 has horrible memories of Bin being in this rush specifically, and LNG could share in the trauma But it looks like they're not going to move that way just yet. Bin, if he steps out of the brush, will be spotted. There we go. He's on the ward now. So LNG know where Bin is. The flank not as secret as they would like. Dragon down to half as Suning just going to commit to this play. Tarzan trying to move in. Scatter the weak onto Tarzan here. He's rooted as well, but he's in range. Bin behind the play. Uses a stop push. Onto the Drake we go. SofM takes it. Ally on the front line. On trying to block the damage. And Suning, they've just got to try and escape, but Tarzan won't let them. In he goes. 4 strong here for Suning as Bin's onto the back line once more. Light could be in trouble here. Tarzan blocks the ulti. 1 HP remaining and he walks away here. 4 shots coming on through. SofM gets one. Lwandy goes down. On flashes the right of the arcane. Dodges from the Eye of Destruction. And the only destruction here is LNG's health bars.
But there's no jungler left for LNG. The dragon went to Suning, and by some miracle, Suning managed to come out with a kill onto Tarzan and Lwandy as well. LNG, they couldn't get the abilities to land. They couldn't hit the key members, and Suning come out ahead.
By a hair as well. By a cat's whisker on managing to flash away from the damage from Icon at the last possible second there as well to be able to get away with it. But Suning hold on for another 5 minutes.
And SofM gets a magnificent kick here. Boots Tarzan out of the pit as the dragon is about to go down, making sure there's no contest. And then they're all just running for the hills, but Angel trying to hit with the Scatter the Weeks. Icon, I saw this flank, I was like, it's over. But the Q misses. He's not actually able to aggress very far forward because Angel is zoning him out. He's got Huanfeng is there. And it means that there's actually 2 quick kills that go over in favor of Suning rather than LNG being able to finish off so many of these low health bars.
And it's so crucial as well that SofM is just straight up winning the 1v1 between the junglers here. Like, kicks him out of the pit so he can get the smite, then finishes the kill with the Q. Obviously, the solo kill earlier on in this game. In a series that it's felt like Tarzan has had the advantage in the jungle matchup. Maybe it's blue side that has the advantage in this jungle matchup. SofM doing a great job on this Lee Sin. 2 items now as he has to back away to the rest of his team. Scatter the weak onto 2, but not enough items yet from Angel to one-shot everyone with that ability just yet. Baron is onto the map here, and it feels like LNG toying with the idea of trying to force a fight using that objective.
I don't think LNG needs to force this, but SofM...
Kick into the wall, though. SofM can't find the opportunity he was looking for there. Curtain call through. Lwandy, 1 HP here. The shot goes wide, but then the 4th one hits. Tarzan protecting himself as the rest of the team comes in once more. The stun is there. The Shroud keeping Bin safe. Tarzan will go down to SofM once more. Ale falls to Bin, and Suning are taking over the map. Baron available, and no jungler for LNG.
There's 3 dead on LNG's side. You've got the 2 poke carries available. Maybe Icon can make a play happen with the right of the arcane, but Suning are playing these fights so well. Now LNG move in, but they need to be careful.
Light and Icon, both massive poke characters to work with here. Can they get the kills in the pit? SofM happy to just tank up the Baron, dodging away from the right of the arcane. It's not enough damage just yet on. Trying to block this one. Is Icon trying to move in? They are blind right now. The Q comes in. That was a little too close for comfort, Dagda. But Suning get themselves the Baron, and somehow nobody dies.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just gotta give the fans that little kind of butterfly effect in their stomach, but I gotta say, Suning's still coming out on top. And I want to say before we launch into this, LNG don't need to force these. They don't have the items on Icon yet. We said we wanted to see them scale. Well, Suning are continuously finding these fights before you've got those items coming online, and LNG kind of just giving it to them. You get the curtain call, phenomenal position again here from Huanfeng, sniping out Lwandy. Tarzan, despite having this ultimate, is still getting picked off thanks to the Winter's Bite that connects from on. Like, there's just, you need to play this slow. Let yourselves have the time to get to the late game where Icon's Qs are hitting for half health rather than the 5th of a HP bar that they're hitting for right now.
And Dagda, we're there again. Suning of 4,000 gold up. It's happened again. Every single game, we're getting to this Suning 4,000 gold lead point. And the question once again is, can Suning finish the game or do they throw the gold lead? That seems to be the consistent question in this series. And once again, I want to return to Icon here. 2-0 and 2 on the Xerath, and it feels like he is the guy that has to make this win happen for LNG.
It's so difficult though. You've got stopwatches on SofM and Angel. Zhonya's on Bin. There's so much kind of deny Icon his poke and his ability to get that damage off. And Suning, they've got Baron.
Stun onto On, but no real follow-up there, and the Unbreakable gonna block a lot of the damage. Right, the Arcane comes through just to try and get some poke, but the tower goes down, and that's what was important there. Bin, in the meantime, pushing in the bottom side with those Baron minions. I don't think he'll finish this tower off, but at least getting some good pressure out. And you can see pings from Suning up towards the top side of the map, because they still haven't even taken the tier 1 just yet. But the key thing, massive pressure here, means SofM can just move over and solo this Drake.
And that's one of the big benefits of having the Baron. You can keep these waves shoved in, deny LNG the opportunity to take that, and because it's LNG without vision, they don't know when that's being taken. Now, though, they will realize this is where Icon's poke can hit multiple members, and maybe LNG can make something happen.
Suning, you already got the Drake. You have Baron right now. You don't need to fight this one. I think they realized they're just going to back away, but the way SofM was positioning, I was a little bit worried that he'd go for a little bit too much on this one. 2 Infernal Drakes, though, back to back here for Suning. And as we said before, the 4,000 gold lead, it's now turned into 5,000. Baron going to be about to time out for the side of Suning. And we'll see what the play becomes without that buff to help them siege, because there's a lot of wave clear for the side of LNG.
Defense is the name of the game for LNG right now, though, which they may not guess.
We're just going to see SofM 2v1ing. Casually just goes in and obliterates Icon. Icon at this point, I mean, I said he's the guy that's got to carry. What do you do when Lee Sin just completely destroys you with your jungler next to you? You should be safe there, surely. You'd believe it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't quite time the Crescent Guard to actually knock away the engage from the Lee Sin, and he's able to follow up, and now Icon's dead. Suning swarm towards this top side of the map. They want to use this time as best they can before that wave clear tool comes back up and available.
Oh, they're getting onto Lwandy. A stun comes through as well. SofM is there. The Scatter Weak on cooldown for now. Lwandy will walk away. That Eclipse getting mad value right there to keep him alive and shield him from a lot of the damage. But tier 2 taken in the top side, and that's all they needed, because you got Bin pushing on the bottom side as well to take every single tier 2 tower on the map. You can see 6 towers taken now. For Suning, they have complete control. It's unarguable at this stage of the game. 10-4 on the scoreline, and that gold lead, it was 4K just a few minutes ago. It has skyrocketed since then.
And the thing is, you're waiting still so long for LNG to get these items. Oh no.
Tarzan's been caught again here. The Crescent Guard will keep him safe for the time being, but it'll time out eventually, and Lwandy, trying to protect his jungler, might just go down for his trouble. The 4th shot from Huanfeng to finish it off. And so SofM has a ward on Tarzan, but he's not going to commit to the play. Tarzan walks away. Lwandy sacrifices himself to save Tarzan.
And we said for 23 hours a day, line sleep. Well, Suning, they've woken up. They get to the final point. They get where their backs are against the wall. And suddenly, we're finding them picking off these stragglers, making these quick plays happen. And it's SofM who's leading the charge. You've got Huanfeng who's following up on the back line. And it's making it so difficult for LNG to find the space that they want. They would love to get towards these Banshee Veils completed for the likes of Icon. Get towards these 4 or 5 items and be like, cool, we've got this massive late game mage that's taking over the game, but we're not seeing that happen.
He's an item behind when it comes to where Angel's at in the game, and, you know, we saw a Scatter the Week earlier. They didn't one-shot everyone on the side of LNG. That's not going to happen again. He's got a Void Staff. He's got 3 items. He does a lot of damage in these fights now. He's TP'd up towards the top side to make sure that there is cryo in every lane. Suning only 3 people in the jungle here. LNG might have just found themselves the opportunity. SofM into his GA. No way does this happen again, Dagda. Suning caught out here, but they trade 1 for 1 for now. On trying to back away is Angel on the flank. Scatter the Weak goes wide though, and Ally gets his opportunity onto Angel himself. Bin has to save his mid laner, but it's a double for Huanfeng. Ally goes down as well. Suning, how have they possibly won this fight? On desperately trying to escape, saving Huanfeng's life for now. Tarzan will fall to the 4th shot. That's 3 for Huanfeng. Make it 4. It's perfect for the Jhin player, and Suning enter the base.
How do they manage it? How do they go into a fight, run a man down, they lose SofM, and somehow Suning managed to come out with a victory in that fight? Now, they have the minion line. They'll be able to take this inhibitor in the top side, but we are not out of the woods just yet. LNG will respawn to a base that's in ruin and on fire.
And just think back to Worlds 2020, Dagda, when Huanfeng annihilated JDG with Jhin from inside their own base. This is one of the best Jhin players on the entire planet. And he's showing it here against LNG. Now an almost 10,000 gold lead in favor of Suning, and Infernal Drake spawning onto the map, and Suning with complete control of the area.
LNG are running straight towards the Baron. It looks like they might try and just trade this. Like, you have a lot of damage that can come out, but you don't know if you're going to be able to burst that one down in time. Suning are all on this bottom side of the map, but looks like LNG, they're just going to let this one go. 3 for 3 in Dragons, but as you said, Munch, the sheer volume of gold Suning have amassed for themselves is going to make this incredibly hard for LNG to stop this next push.
And the thing is as well, we're getting to the point with these Drakes where it's not just the soul that we're talking about. Because 3 Infernal Drakes is a massive boost in damage. When you have a Syndra on your team, when you've got a Jhin, whose 4th shot already does like 1,500 damage, you add a bunch of Infernal Drakes on top of that, you've got people being one-shot at this point. SofM, well, with the idea of going in here, Huanfeng throws out W. SofM seeing the chickens. There's the 4th game in a round of playoffs happening right here, and SofM is willing to risk it on the chickens, and it doesn't even surprise me. Lwandy is getting 1v1 by Bin here, has to use the Zhonyas, maybe an overcommit, but Suning, they're going to be fine. 4th shot, just going to be blocked by a teammate there, as SofM now trying to help out Ale and Tarzan running disruption, but they're out alone here, and they don't have help from the team, right? The Arcane looking for SofM, but he walked back into it. SofM, you are fine, mate. Just keep going where you were going. Oh, it's a disaster for Suning. It does mean they probably can't do the Baron.
Yeah, jungler for jungler. LNG going to buy a bit of time here. Ale moving back in, but Suning not dissuaded. They're going to start this up. Jungler be damned.
And remember, they have a Jhin. 4th shot is as good of a smite. At this point in the game, Icon trying to move in. He's not been spotted. Bin looks for an opportunity here. Chain of Corruption goes wide.
Low.
The Baron's still going here, but it might just reset. Bin inside his shroud. He's looking for Icon. He's found a way in. Jhin gets the Baron, and Bin gets a kill as well. LNG, everything has fallen apart. The 10,000 gold lead, the Baron, the 3 Infernal Drakes, everything for Suning.
That was 23 health left on the Baron after Light's arrow goes over the wall.
Not even close.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sweating a little bit after that one, mate. Like, that was insanely close. And look, Bin as well being able to pick up that kill means that you get these resets coming through from Suning. You're not quite a man, or sorry, you are a man down here for Icon for at least another 15 seconds. And that's 2 inhibitors now that could be exposed.
Dagda, I'm scared. I'm starting to believe that Suning might actually make this happen. We're getting late into the 4th game of the series. LNG won the first 2, and now Suning sieging into the base once more. Super's already pushing in the top side here. Has been pressuring in the bottom lane at the same time. Huanfeng moves in. Has to be careful not to overcommit here. But SofM is going to escort him to that inhibitor. Drake up in 2 minutes' time. That would be a win condition in of itself for Suning. They want to use this Baron to try and finish the game before that point. Top lane inhib may well be respawning soon. It's about a minute away. So Suning looking towards the bottom lane, at least for the time being, and just trying to keep the pressure on LNG, keep them in their base.
You see Icon, he's firing on all cylinders here, but unfortunately they're fairly small cylinders. Like, he's just not been able to get that damage down. There's just too much magic resist built up in the team. And when he was kind of the guy we were relying on for LNG's late game, it speaks volumes as they encroach in as Suning.
He's firing on all cylinders, but he's, of course, a 1.2 petrol engine. And, you know, he's got one of those big exhausts that makes it sound like it's a big car, but it just ain't at this point. Shots coming in from Huanfeng. Lwandy sacrificing himself once again. As Tarzan goes in, it's a trade, 1-for-1. LNG maybe can find a fight here. Ale low under the tower. Tarzan trying to chase. As Bin is diving the fountain right now. Are you kidding me, Bin? Almost finished.
finishes off a second kill as well. Huanfeng still going strong, has a fourth shot, and it is primed for Tarzan. That's 3. Can he get the second quadra of his game here on the Jhin? If that ain't roleplay, I don't know what is. Huanfeng takes over, and Suning take a second game.
Now, we are going to move on right the way through to game number 5. The reverse sweep is in the eyes of Suning, and they are hungry for that victory.